Hello, and welcome to another episode of Goliath's Rants, Reviews, and Revivals right here on Forward Radio, WFMP Louisville at 106.5 FM and forwardradio.org. We've got an exciting episode here in the studio today. We have Wayne Kramer, author of the Heroes of Time series, and here's your host, Goliath.
Thank you so much, Yaniel. Welcome to another Goliath's Rants, Reviews, and Revivals. Wayne, thank you so much for being in the studio with us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about pirates, one of my personal favorites. You guys know I love One Piece. I love Jack Sparrow, Johnny Depp. I love the Pirates of the Caribbean, but I may have found some new pirates that might just beat you, Johnny. I love you. You're a great pirate, but these pirates might just hold that much more fascination for me. So let's dive right into it today as we talk about some new pirates in the world of, well, pirating. So, Wayne, welcome to the show. How are you feeling today?
Feeling great. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here and telling us about your new pirates, which I cannot wait to hear more about.
Yeah, so the Heroes of Time series, it's like swashbuckling adventure, ancient magic, and a feisty red panda.
Love it.
So yeah, I like to describe that as the first book, Heroes of Time Legends, Murdoch's Choice. Stars Captain Zale, the Gale, Murdoch. A seafaring merchant.
Okay.
At the top of his game, he is commissioned to find the legendary Grimstone. In the course of his journey, he comes to realize that if he finds this thing and delivers it to the client, then he'll put his entire kingdom in great danger.
Okay.
But if he fails or refuses the job, then his family and everyone he cares about will be in great danger.
Ooh.
So he's wrestling with some big choices there. Now, if you called him a pirate, Zale might say that's kind of a different class of rascal. He likes to call himself a seafaring merchant, specializing in high-value cargoes.
I don't steal things. I just happen to find them, and they come on my ship willingly, and I take them with me, kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
They get there somehow, you know.
And you put that on my boat.
It's like the kingdom said it was okay, so we
Now,
don't call ourselves pirates.
like with the name Heroes of Time and this imagery of pirate, I'm imagining like this pirate ship with like a 3-mast schooner, giant sails, that's just like flying through the timeline instead of, coasting through the oceans. Is that accurate at all, or is that just my imagination having fun?
So the ship is somewhat inspired by Narnia's Dawn Treader.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yes. I love
Yes.
Narnia. Yes.
Okay.
So that makes it a single-masted, square-rigged ship.
Gotcha.
Oh, so you go into like real precise language for the ships. Like you're going real old school on
You
us.
have to
Little
if
bit.
you
Yeah,
know
you
you're
have
going to
to.
know your lore.
Some kids are like, Mommy, what's a schooner? What? In the book, it says they got on the schooner and escaped.
And
Use Google.
Well, and it's funny because like I myself, I'm not a sailor, and if I go on a boat and the waves start bobbing around, I get sick.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's kind of the worst thing.
What kind of pirate are you, sir?
But yeah, I would be a seasick pirate. But I definitely did my research for these books. I even tapped the help of Chris A. Jackson, who is another author who has a pirate fantasy series, and he is a sailor.
Yeah.
And he actually did review my material and help me out to make sure I had the right terms and everything.
Right.
So yeah, I did take those extra steps to try and make sure things were, they at least made sense to somebody who might be paying attention. And at least it sounds good.
Oh, no, definitely. The more
Yeah.
history you can give people nowadays, the more information you can give somebody, it allows them to make those kind of decisions. And I got to say, I love when you read a book and it gives you like tidbits of information, not to overwhelm your people with history or facts. It's like they got into the 40-foot schooner, and people are sitting there going, wait, aren't schooners only 20 feet? But like, oh, sorry, 20-foot schooner. You're giving people a little
it
bit
could
of
be either.
factual information so they can like look at it from history perspective and go, okay, they're using real terminology, proper boat terminology, old school world terminology. You're not saying like, go down and get down to the mizzen mast, me hearties. Be like, you're not going Hollywood on them,
Yeah. Well, plus it's my own fantasy world, so I can almost be like, yeah, but in this world they do have 40-foot schooners.
Yeah, they do.
That's cool. So let's dive backwards a little bit in this part of the show. You didn't just wake up one day and go, I want to make a book about pirates, mommy. And then 20 years later, I made a book about pirates, mommy. Like, how did this come to be? Have you been working on this for like a long time, or was this like a project you took on during the pandemic? How did this come to be, and how long have you been working at it?
Yeah. So Heroes of Time as a series was conceptualized actually well before the pandemic. So this is kind of going back to like 2018-ish.
Okay. Just back in pre-pandemic days.
Yeah.
Back when things were normal.
In the world of normal. But even before that, because I had for a long time wanted to novelize a video game called Chrono Trigger.
Okay.
And so I worked for many, many years, really starting back even like in high school, going through college, writing an epic fantasy adaptation of this role-playing game, RPG, Chrono Trigger, which was like a 1995 Super Nintendo game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I remember that. Yeah, that's old school memories right there.
Yeah. But it was this great story of adventure and time travel, and it had this blend of like a medieval setting with some modern technologies.
Yep.
So you could have a kingdom and a castle, but in the houses they had refrigerators and ferry boats were out in the water. So I'm like, this is kind of a fun mix. And I wanted to publish that for the longest time, but eventually, getting the rights to do that and everything was so difficult. Eventually, it actually kind of still is a project that I have. I even have chronotrigger.com.
Ooh, there you go.
And the project is still there, like waiting for the day. But I decided that what I'd really love is to have my own fantasy series that was my own brand, my own thing.
Yes.
Wasn't just somebody else's that I was always trying to get rights to do things with.
Yeah, that's a problem with the world of fantasy nowadays. Like everyone's like, everything's been done, everything's copywritten, and I'm like, yeah, that's why we had other guests on the show and other authors talk about like being a freelance writer or be a freelance creator of your own LLC, your own company, because we've seen people like, one of our guys is afraid because he made a show and book similar to almost Avatar, but it's not Avatar. It's like Last Horizons meets Avatar, the Blue Monkey People meets Avatar, the Last Airbender, about a young girl who has spiritual awareness, but she's techno, like all her powers are from techno-organic. So she lights up like the Avatar,
Wow.
but because the robots in her are charging her up with plasma energy, which is now her blood. And I'm like, that's close to Avatar, but that's not even close to Avatar. But
Yeah.
he was afraid of lawsuits because it's so close, the eye glowing, the body glowing stuff, that it could be viewed as copyright infringement. And I'm like, people, the way the law works is you got to make it and alter it by 28% minimum. But if you make something similar, that's not copyright. That's you creating a whole new character that's similar, but not even close to the original. So you don't have to worry about that. And I think that's what you've done here. You've taken a lot of knowledge of pirates, but made your spin on it and made it yours. Made it so the copyright laws, infringements don't even touch you because you've made a book no one else has made yet. Which
Yes.
is what I like about it. No one has your story, which is your story.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, that's true. A lot of people say everything's been done.
Yeah.
Every magic trick,
Every power,
effect,
super
every
ability.
power.
Right, but
Yeah.
that doesn't give enough credit to the creativity of the human mind.
Yes.
Exactly. I mean, every author that takes elements of that and puts it together in a different way with their own unique spin and their own
Yes.
character development. And so, yeah, it's always going to be unique as long as you're just not straight outright copying something.
As long as you don't call your character Aang or Zuko or Jack Sparrow. You can have
Yeah.
a guy named Sparrow, just don't call him Captain or Jack. Done. Problem solved.
This is Max Sparrow. Yes.
This is Max Sparrow. he's Jack's cousin.
Yeah. No, but I wanted to have my own series, and so I started brainstorming this over a period of like 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Which takes time, guys.
And writing the first book while I was doing the world building. The first book is a book I haven't even published yet.
Oh, really?
That'll be what I call the Heroes of Time main series, which will start with a book called The First Ethereal.
Okay.
And this, what I've written so far, which I have 3 books out so far, Heroes of Time Legends. So that's going to be the Legends tie-in series to the main series.
Oh, I like it.
It was almost like my Captain America to my Avengers.
You got your spin-off already before you have your spin-off. You're ready for it. You're prepped and ready, which is awesome all of itself.
Yes.
And guys, he does have copies of his books in the studio with us. I'm looking at the covers, and the artwork is so beautiful. Like, if you saw the artwork, and we're definitely gonna have him back for a YouTube episode too, guys. His artwork is so beautifully presented. I think what drew me into his table was it was pirate-esque, and it is pirates. But when I saw it, I was like, wait a second, this doesn't have that normal piratey, cartoony feel to it that we grew up with. It's a whole new element, and the covers are shiny. They pulled me in. I was like, wait a second, I must know more about this pirate lord, man. I must know more. And that's the good thing about a good author and a good artist that come together to make a story. You draw people in with the artwork, the story, the dialogue, and I think that's what you've accomplished in your books. And now you said you've worked on this for about 3 years prior, so 2018 to about 2021-ish, I would say, basically.
Yes.
Now, has it all been you, or have you had others jump in and be like, let me help you? I have an idea for this character. Like, has it been you, your wife, your partner? Like, how's it all been?
So that initial world building and writing that first book was all me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do have an individual who's my assistant now named Jacob, who is my alpha reader, so he's kind of there alongside me.
Okay.
As
Sure.
I'm writing things.
So he's over your shoulder like, oh, are you sure you want to do that? Is that a good idea? Look, let's make his pants blue instead
Or
of
maybe he's your spell checker?
No, not really. I don't need much help technically. I'm pretty good there, honestly.
Yeah.
But he does catch that kind of stuff. But he is kind of rooting for me on the plot. He's
Okay.
he does definitely provide some ideas. He's definitely contributed some great ideas that I've incorporated in different areas. He's always been a fan. He's been a fan since back in the Chrono Trigger days.
Oh, so he's a pre-fan.
Yeah. So he was with me back then.
That's great.
Going just always kind of looking over my work and really being interested in it. So as I got into Heroes of Time, he decided he really loved that as well. And so, it went from just a kind of alpha beta reader sort of thing to actual like full-time assistant now. So we work together actively.
That's great.
So he's the first one that reads all my stuff.
Oh, so he has all the precursor. He can sit there while everyone's like waiting in line to get your autograph and be like, I know what happens.
Yes. He can. And he does sometimes.
Oh no.
He doesn't give
evil.
secrets, but he's like, it's like, yeah, I've read everything.
I've already seen all that. It's all taken care of. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So that's amazing that you have someone that's really at your side for the whole thing, and that's really amazing. For our fans out there that are always listening, they always say, guys, remember, you need 3 people to take over the world. He's already got 1, so he needs 2 more, and he could just, take over like a pirate lord. Who else is involved?
Who says they need 3 people to take over the world?
So that's an old, my dad used to say, if you have 5 friends, you can rule the world. 5 loyal friends.
Ooh.
So you need 4 more, apparently.
You can do that.
Yeah.
So right now, you're a small LLC, right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, remember, guys, 3 years for an LLC, and remember, you could start an LLC and call yourselves anything, but make sure you have the plan ready to go. And I'm pretty sure you guys, when you first started out, you knew that you were going to do a book series. You had to figure out which one. So what made you guys lead to this decision to grab this one, the side arc before the main arc? What brought you guys to go, we're starting with this one first, then we'll come back to this one later? What started all that?
Yeah, so that kind of got into trademark stuff.
Oh, that's always yep.
Yep. So, one thing about trademark is you can trademark a series, but not an individual title.
Which is a pain in the butt.
Yeah. So I had started the application for trademark of Heroes of Time, I guess, kind of early on, and it was such that I had to have 2 books out in 2021.
Oh, you had to have 2 out.
I had to have 2 books
In order
out
to be a series.
in order to be
Yeah.
a series
Yeah.
by August of 2021. And so I went back and thought, okay, I had a couple ideas for what could be side stories, almost like origin stories.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I chose, which was Murdoch, Captain Murdoch, I chose because of my personal ties to that character.
Your connection to that person. You're like, this
Yes.
is me. This is the guy I want to bring forward.
Yeah. And I thought, these will be small. So that first book I wrote was like 220,000 words. It's an epic fantasy.
Yeah.
And it's a hard one to lead into something like that as a first-time author.
Okay.
It's higher for print cost. It's just
Yeah.
more commitment. People are a little bit tainted by some other fantasy authors out there who have not finished their series.
Which breaks my heart.
Yes.
Yep.
But so I decided to set the first Ethereal aside and look at the Murdoch books. And so Captain Murdoch is special because he is based on a real life individual from my life.
So you got some real factual stuff in there. That's cool.
Yeah. So, his name was Skip. He went by the name Skip.
Skippy.
Yeah. So you can already see where the name,
Yup.
the kind of the seafaring thing comes from.
Yep.
He was a fun, interesting guy. He almost had two personalities. He had like a whimsical, goofy side,
La la la.
and he had the more serious, gruff, like intensely personal side.
Yeah.
You hurt my family. Now you must die.
Yeah, yeah, and a family guy for sure, a family man.
Of course.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he was part of our family. He married into our family actually, and he was also a colleague. He was a friend.
This
So he
is
was,
amazing. I love
very,
this.
very intertwined. So we were actually on our way to a business trip one time in the car, and I turned to him and said, "You know what? I'm making this fantasy series. I was world building Heroes of Time, and I'm like, I think I'd like to make a character out of you because he was just a funny, interesting guy. Make nicknames for people, all this stuff." And I was like, "What kind of character would you like to be?" And he was like, well, and really not much hesitation at all.
He just went, yes.
He was
yes.
like, I want to be a sea captain who specializes in cargo runs for the kingdom.
okay.
And I'm like,
Okay.
okay, well, I think I could probably work that in somewhere. And he's like, well, I also would like this crazy little sidekick character.
The red panda.
Now, the red, that
So
became,
he's like, I
that
wanna
became
be
the
a-
red panda.
He's
Yes.
like, I want to be bad butt to the bone, and I want to be cool, and like, okay,
He wanted a bionic arm and everything. And Captain Zale did not get a bionic arm, but he did get a reconstructed leg.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it a Swiss Army leg?
It's made out of something called graphenite,
Ooh,
which is
okay.
an in-world material.
Yep.
Yeah, which does have some significance as you get into it.
I'm loving this. I honestly love it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a small commercial break. We'll be right back after these messages. We got more questions for Wayne, and I can't wait to find out more. I'm going to probably buy his entire series because I'm a bookaholic. I just can't stop reading. But we'll be right back after these messages.
Stay tuned.
After these messages.
After these messages.
After these messages.
After these messages.
We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Goliath's Rants, Reviews, and Revivals right here on Forward Radio, WFMP Louisville at 106.5 FM and forwardradio.org. Whew, I'm jazzed after that music. Can you tell us a bit more about it?
Yes, that was awesome, and I love the energy. It's like Avengers, Pirates of the Caribbean meets Megamorph. Like, that was cool.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, so I actually brought in an individual to custom compose some soundtracks for us. And that name, the individual's named Sam Dillard. He did some awesome work with video game soundtracks Chrono Cinematica, Zelda Cinematica, Metroid Cinematica. The Metroid one's actually one of my favorites.
I love Metroid.
Oh yeah, and it's one of my favorites to listen to while writing, actually. So it's like kind of gets me jazzed for the
Keeps you going.
for the
Keeps
writing
you
part. Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, me personally, when I write, she thinks it's weird. Danielle thinks I play really, like when I'm writing my stories and my books, I listen to really sad, depressing music, like really like heart wrenching, like makes you want to cry music. And it's like I don't know why it works, but it keeps me focused and keeps my brain going. It's so weird.
Is that for your serious scenes or just?
Oh no, just in general. I just listen to really sad music. I don't know why, but it keeps me focused like a laser, and I don't know why it has to be.
Yeah.
If it's happy and bouncy, I lose focus. But if I'm like sitting there like on the verge of crying, I'm like, I can get this done. I will finish.
See, generally for me, if it has words, if it has lyrics, that messes my focus up.
Yeah.
You know, so
I can
so I'm
agree
generally
with that.
like I'm either silence or some kind of orchestral music.
Yep.
So it could be something Celtic, maybe the Metroid
Ooh,
Cinematic.
yes.
Lindsey Sterling does really awesome violin tracks, so those are cool too. But yeah, Sam Diller did these tracks. We have a Murdoch's Overture. That's actually on my website, and the one that you just played is for the first Ethereal. So that's actually, this is almost like a debut of that track.
Woo!
Yeah, because we haven't really even officially come out with that one yet.
We got
All
to hear it
right.
before anyone else, and now all you out there listening to 106.5 got to hear a pre-release before the release.
That's right.
So, how can we find you? What is, by the way, what is your website, your Instagram, your TikTok, your X, Twitter, and all the other things? How do we find you?
Yeah, so heroesoftime.com is my website.
Easy to remember.
And all the social links are on there, of course. On Facebook, it's Heroes of Time Series. Instagram, I believe, also Heroes of Time Series. TikTok, Heroes of Time. I'm on YouTube as well under Heroes of Time. So, yeah, but if you just go to heroesoftime.com, all the social
It's all
channels
there.
are right there, yeah.
And how many shows would you say you're doing right now? Because we saw you at Lexington Toy Comic Con, and that was I loved meeting you there. How many cons and shows have you hit since your book has been released? How many cons do you hit per month, year? How many do you do?
Just a few throughout the year so far. I have done the Lexington Comic and Toy Convention. I've done the Indiana Comic Convention.
Yep.
And I've done Gen Con. I'll be there. At
Oh,
Gen
right,
Con this year.
Gen Con. I forgot. Yeah, that's in Indianapolis, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, in August, right at the beginning of August this
Yep.
year.
I think we might be there
We
as
might
well,
see you
guys.
there.
Yeah, so we might be there.
Okay, great. Yeah.
And honestly, what I've been trying to do with my books, and again, this is my, it depends, I guess, on the book you're trying to reach and for the present day. Are you mostly trying to use the events to push the book, or are you trying to hope that your own social media will do that? Because again, I always believe that you need to go to these events to basically promote oneself. Because if I'm just on the internet, if I'm on Facebook, there's 1,000 authors on Facebook, there's 1,000
Right.
on Instagram. Do you believe that the conventions do help, or are they a hindrance because you're spending money with no guarantee of selling? Like, how do you feel
Right.
about that?
Well, it's hard to outsell the spend of the convention, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Not even because of the convention, but because of once you add in the travel cost and everything.
Hotel, food,
Yeah.
drinks.
Yeah, hotel, food, drink. Plus, I bring my assistant along.
No, you gotta pay the assistant.
Yeah, so
And Scooby snacks.
yeah. So for me, it's about the networking as much as it is the selling. And then
Yes.
it's a great way to build a fan base kind of quickly. I mean, if I sell 200 books in a weekend,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 200 books that are out there in the public.
that's 200 more books that are out there. And then hopefully
Someone's
they
on
like
a
it and
bus
they're
sitting
talking
there
about
going,
it.
"Who's the hero of time? You've never heard of the hero of time, the great Captain Murdoch?" You're sitting there going, and the guy's like, "No," but like, "Here, I have an extra copy in my bag. Read this one." And they get some guy on the bus sharing his book with people, and that's how
Yes.
it goes. Really, a
Yes.
lot of manga fans don't know that. A lot of comic book fans, guys, you need to get your books and your comics and your everything into the hands of the people. Look, I can sit on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram, and I could blow up saying, "I have the greatest book. I have the greatest book," but I've only sold 5 copies or given away 5 copies to family and friends. And you got to remember, if you don't get it into the hands of your fans, you're not going to get it out to anybody, because if no one knows about the Great Murdoch or Jack Sparrow or Zelda, no one's going to care.
Yep.
So you really have to promote yourself, guys, to everyone listening. Remember, 3 years of work. Arc Studios, 7 years plus 2 years of being collaborated. It takes time. You can't just hope that people find you. You have to go out to events, out to shows. You may spend a little bit of money in the long run, but in the big game plan, the small game plan, you spent $2,000. Long game plan, you made $20,000 in the long run. But you have to be willing to make those sacrifices, lose your weekends. And a lot of people that write, and I know I have a few friends that are authors trying to get published and go out there, they're not willing to give up their weekends. They're like, no, my book's good enough to speak for itself. Like, okay, if your book is so good,
Yes,
how
but
come
it
I've
needs
never
to
heard of
make
it?
to its audience.
Exactly. So,
Right.
like this, Wayne is going to these events, guys. He's not going, like, how many do you think you hit last year? Like, in the last year, how many do you think you hit? 6, 7, 10?
Well, probably more like 4 or 5 for me.
But,
But
that's still more than some people if they don't go to 0.
I mean, I know some people who really do events as kind of like their main thrust.
That's their main thrust,
marketing.
yeah.
And some people done 20, 30, 50 events.
Yeah.
that
you know.
gets expensive if you don't have a sponsor. If you don't have a sponsor or a book publisher behind you, that gets pricey.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And they can really, it's amazing how well they can get by on a shoestring budget too. I mean,
Yes,
they're bringing the food with them, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that they brought from home or whatever.
got to cook those meals and take it with you.
Got a bologna sandwich at the booth, you know, in the cooler. Hey, whatever works.
Exactly. Now, with your book itself, and you're going back to the spinoff, from the spinoff to the main story. When do you think the main story book is gonna? Because we have the present right now. We have these 3.
Yes.
When do you think the next one's gonna be released for the main arc? I guess you could say.
Okay, so I'm going to complete the Legends arc first.
You're gonna do the whole arc, the whole thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So right now we have Heroes of Time Legends, The Healer. That's a prequel volume.
Yep.
We have Murdoch's Choice, which is considered book 1, and Murdoch's Shadow, book 2. I'm actually working on a direct sequel to The Healer, so it's going to
Okay.
take place between The Healer and Murdoch's Choice, fill the gap a little, because it's like a 25-year gap right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Big gap.
Yeah, and then I'm going to complete book 3
To go forward.
after Murdoch's Shadow, and then that will start bringing in the focus for the first Ethereal, the main series.
So you're talking maybe years down the road.
It's probably a couple years. Yeah, I would say, the sequel to The Healer is probably where my expectation is it will publish later this year,
Okay.
and then Murdoch 3 next year.
Okay, so
Fantastic.
2-3 years basically is your gap, basically. Not too
That's
too
what I'm going
devastatingly
for.
long.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. I don't want to commit myself into a corner, but I do believe that's doable.
Yeah, so guys,
Yep.
don't tie him to those words. Now he said 2 to 3. Don't tie him to those words because
Yeah.
we could have another pandemic for all we know. We don't.
Oh, do not
knock on wood.
tease Lady Luck.
Yeah, for real.
Well, you have time to work on your books while we're all in lockdown again.
Listen.
Right.
That was enough nightmare, to last
A
quite a
lifetime.
while.
We don't need another one of those.
No,
And-
no,
Nope, not getting political.
no, we're not gonna tie that one. But anyway, what so far in your book series would you say is there a character that both you and your partner agree on? Like, is there a character you look at and go, like, this is our, like, obviously Murdoch is your the hero, the icon. Is there any other character you look at and go, this is my personal favorite character? Is there someone that you look at and go, I like this character more than the main character, or is the main character just that's your guy, that's your man?
Oh wow.
The red panda.
Yeah,
I
panda.
already like the red panda.
Just because it's a red panda, that's automatic.
Yeah, I mean, definite favorite. I mean, Dale Murdoch is definitely a favorite for many reasons. We're talking of the books that are out now, right? Mm-hmm. So the red panda is he's goes by the name of Boomer, which is
Boomer.
which is Zale's name for him. His real name is Rakakitacha.
Rakachita.
But nobody wants to say that.
Spell that.
Yeah,
It's in his language.
it's in his language. Yep. And his daughter Starlina is a fan favorite, and Fulgar Geth. He's the healer and spiritual guide that we see in Murdoch's Choice, and then the healer goes back to his origin story,
Gotcha.
Oh, okay.
which really was inspired by the fact that he became a fan favorite unexpectedly. Because I wrote him in Murdoch's Choice, side character, important side character,
But
people
character.
were like, man, he's my favorite character.
Oh man, I love him.
And
He's
so-
so cool. He's so awesome.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, well, let's explore that a little bit more. Actually, the healer wasn't intended to exist at first.
Right.
Oh.
So
he kind of just
That
came
goes back
in.
to your
he came
question
right in.
about
Okay.
the prequel versus the series.
The book wasn't intended to exist, and what I mean by that is I was going to just write a short story to use as like what we call a reader magnet.
Yeah.
Which
To
is
draw the readers in, hook them in.
draw readers, get people to sign up for the mailing list, to get a free story kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was going to be all right, 30,000 word book, maybe 20, 30,000. Ended up 75,000 words. And
Just 75,000. That's all, folks. Just 75.
I'm like, you know what? It's a full novel. So I just went ahead and published it as a prequel volume. And now I'm feeling the need. Now people have said, oh, that's my favorite.
Oh, no, you can't get rid of him. You can't kill him off. No.
Yeah. They're like, oh, The Healer is my favorite book now. And so I'm like, okay, I need to bridge the gap a little
Between the two.
So that's why I'm now working on the sequel. So, so I kind of started with Heroes of Time, right? The first
Yep.
book I wrote, the first ethereal. Then I jumped back to the tie-in series.
Yep.
And then I'm like, okay, now I'm doing prequels. So,
It's interesting how much.
I've gone backwards from where I was intending to.
You're leaping through time. I got it now. The leap through time. It all makes sense now.
Yeah, right?
It's interesting how much power your fans can have
Over your
to
writing.
influence your writing and
Oh,
which
yeah.
direction you go with things.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got to ask the evil question. Are you going to do a death scene where he's dying and then, he's like, oh, by the way, he survived? Are you going to do an evil death scene? Are you going to kill your fans with that? Is that how it's going to go? No.
We'll just have to see.
You have
Only
to go on,
one way to
Murdoch.
find out.
Go on
peoples.
without me. I'll see you down the... 2 books later. By the way, I didn't die.
You never know.
Don't do that. No, please don't. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take another commercial break. We'll be right back after these messages with more of Wayne and the future of his book series. I don't want this to be a movie or a TV show or a cartoon. I think this would be awesome. So we'll be right back after these messages.
After these messages,
After these messages.
After these messages.
After these messages.
we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Goliath's Rants, Reviews, and Revivals, right here on Forward Radio, WFMP Louisville at 106.5 FM and forwardradio.org. We're having a lot of fun in the studio today, guys. We are with Wayne D. Kramer, author of Heroes of Time series. And we've been learning about his books, the past, the present, and now we're going to jump right over to the future with Wayne and your host, Goliath.
Thank you so much, Danielle. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 106.5 and Goliath's Rants, Reviews, and Revivals. Wayne, so I got to ask, because the composer, so these are all written by the same composer, correct?
Yes.
I love it. I love the energy. I love how they just. I'm looking at the book. I'm feeling the energy of this, and I'm like, it just feels like this belongs. Like it's so perfect. You guys got a great composer.
That was Kane's theme.
Kane's theme,
Kane's
right?
theme. Yes.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
Oh,
so it's
God.
another one for the upcoming book, The First Ethereal. Kane being one of the main characters from
Yep.
that book. Yes, Kane,
Perfect.
Kayne.
I know that was,
Yeah.
some books do this. I have seen this before in other books. I'm not sure if you're going to do it. They do have soundtracks where you can actually have a QR code at the bottom of the page saying, play song in background when hero enters. Like, are you going to do anything like that? Because I saw it in a few book series and I thought it was the coolest thing. You have your phone, you scan it, like, as Kane enters the room, dun, 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 dun. Like, the book has
Yeah.
music. I'm not sure if you're going to do that, but
I hadn't planned to,
It's starting to become more popular.
but I think it's a really awesome idea. I have heard of that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard of that. And, I think that is a cool idea, honestly.
I just love the energy that it has. It just keeps getting better and better. But where do you see yourself going in the future? I mean, I'd love to see this either as a cartoon, a TV series, a live action, a movie. I think from what I've gotten so far, from what I've dived into the books, I'm already loving it. I'm loving the characters, the development, the plot. Where do you want to go with it? Where do you want this to wind up?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for me, it's a brand, right? Heroes of Time is a brand. It's a series. And so books, audiobooks, we're already in the audiobook phase now.
Nice.
Okay.
And I am definitely into the production stuff, right? So we've got single narrator audiobooks. We're actually working on multicast audiobooks. And to me, we're kind of just stepping up closer and closer to that TV film area.
Yes.
Which is where I would love to be. When we were in Lexington, I actually got to meet a couple of the Power Rangers.
Yes, I love.
Yeah.
Oh, they were so nice.
Yes. And so Charlie Kirsch, Yellow Ranger, she was fantastic. She may actually end up being one of our audiobook actors.
That'd be amazing.
She seemed really nice.
Oh,
she was
she's so
super
sweet.
nice.
So sweet.
Super nice, yes. And Michael Copon, the Blue Ranger,
Yep.
or one of the Blue Rangers.
Well,
Yeah.
one of the many Blue Rangers. There have been many Rangers. Rangers.
Yes. He was super cool and a producer, a movie producer.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's amazing what happens. Like, you get a lot of older school celebrities that were like in the limelight, Power Rangers, Digimon, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, all that. And they wind up going, acting was great. I did 10, 15 years. I had a great time, but I don't want to be an actor anymore. And I'm like, you don't want to be. I would never give that up personally. But when you go to these events, and guys, it's all about the networking again. You meet a Power Ranger who's now a producer. You meet a Power Ranger who's now a voice actor. You meet a Power Ranger who wants to be a publicist. You don't lose
That's
by
it.
meeting these people. You now have developed 3 connections to people that go, I love your book. I'd love to participate. I'd love to publish. I'd love to sponsor. That's what it's all about, going to those places and meeting those people. That's the networking Wayne is talking about.
Yeah, it's
So
the
this is a
networking.
great opportunity to give another shout out to Lexington Comic and Toy Con.
We love you guys. Keep
Yep.
bringing us back.
We had a great time there. We really appreciated the opportunity to go and cover your event. This is part 2 of our coverage of the con on the radio air.
Yes, it is. So thank you guys again so much, LexCon. We'll see you guys next year. But so
Nice.
Wayne, where do you want now, in your personal belief? Do you want cartoon? Do you want live action? Do you want a little bit of everything? Do you want?
I would personally envision this as being a live action.
Okay.
Okay.
That's, I'm sure it could be done well in many different ways, but if I just had my personal preference, I would say live action films.
Okay.
But I would definitely look at any opportunity,
Of course, of course.
You start out as a kid's cartoon show that gets a little edgy, and then they bring you up like, "Hey, it was a great cartoon. Now we want to do live action." You
You got to start somewhere, right? I mean, you're not going to start with Steven Spielberg or Peter Jackson and boom.
I mean, we
Not
could walk.
necessarily,
We could walk
but-
out of the studio today, and you could bump into Steven Spielberg. He's our next interviewer. I'm just saying. So, by the way, Steven, we still want you on the show if you're listening.
Yes, we do.
But yeah, I definitely think that this could be in any format, whether cartoon, live action, series, TV movie series. I think with your great writing, like, you have done a great job portraying your characters and your build and your depth, that no matter what they publish this as, I think it's going to be a smashing success, whether it's animated, live action. I think you've got lightning in a bottle, as they would say. And I think that this is only going to grow for you because you've got like the next 6 books, the next 10 books, you're ready to get all this rolling. And it's amazing how you've prepared for this. You didn't just like throw one book together and then take 2 years off, and your fans are sitting there going, well, I don't know what I'm going to do now. The book doesn't come out till next year. You've got this all planned out. So you've already got the next book and the next book and the next book ready to go, which is amazing.
Yeah. Well, then I keep adding books in between that I didn't originally plan. But
Oh, we're not
That
done with book
aside,
2
yeah.
yet. We need book 3. We haven't finished book 2 yet.
yeah, but I know for sure the Legends. This part of the Legends series, Heroes of Time Legends, is going to be 5 books, and then it's main series time.
Gotcha.
It's
Which-
then that's the 42 book series. That's
Then-
that's the long one.
Oh, come on now. Don't.
I mean, you never know. Just say it.
You never know. You never know.
How long do you think the book? So you're gonna have 5 for this one. How long do you think the main book is gonna be? Are you gonna go more than 10, less than 20, less than 10? What are you feeling?
So it's loosely plotted out as a 6, possibly 7 book series
okay,
of the main epic fantasy
plus
series.
the 5. So you're hitting about 11 altogether so far.
Yeah, yeah.
That's-
but
that's a
but I
pretty
am
good book
sure that
series.
will shift around as we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you gonna, just because I've seen a lot of authors start doing this, because some of those end books from all the big names out there, are you gonna do like a final book and it's gonna be part 1 and part 2 of the same book because it's so epically big? Or are you gonna try to keep it like it's manageable and swallowable?
Oh, it's a good question because like even the first one that is already written, the first Ethereal, at 220,000 words, I mean, some people have suggested maybe that should be split into 2 books.
Book 1, part 1, part 2.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there's definitely a fan base for those longer books.
I mean, I've read
I,
all. those
yeah,
Harry
I agree. I am among them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, look what Harry Potter is like. One of the, I think like it's the Chamber of Secrets, or which one is the biggest one? That big thick one? Is that Prisoner of Azkaban?
Order of the Phoenix.
No, Order
yeah,
of the Phoenix.
That's beast. And I'm like, when I first got it, I thought, oh, this is part 1, and there's gonna be no. This is the whole book.
Yeah.
Whoa. This is a big book.
Yeah, and J.K. Rowling was like, well, I challenge you to tell me what I should cut. It's like it needed to be that long. Sometimes the story just needs that kind of
It does.
breathing
It
room.
needs that depth. But yeah, so
Speaking of, I'm in the middle of reading Order of the Phoenix right now.
she's
Oh,
she's
so is my
rereading.
daughter, actually. Yeah. Awesome.
But that is, I love it. Again, the energy you have now. Are you gonna like? A lot of people I've seen, we look at Has Been Hotel and some of the other nerd things. Are you going to try to take as much of your team with you? Your composer, your second in command, are you going to try to take as like your artist, obviously, that's drawn the covers for the books?
Yeah.
Are you going to try to take them all with you as you go up? Is the question, because a lot of people are unwilling. I've seen people like drop their co-founders and stuff like that, and it's like it's kind of heartbreaking. But what are you feeling like in that situation?
Oh, yeah. I love my team. I have put together a fantastic team already. My assistant is definitely in for the long haul. My illustrator, Jade Savanovic, actually out of Australia.
Oh wow! So they're on the other side of the world.
Yeah, but excellent to work with. She's really, I can see even the improvement in her skills since the very beginning when we started.
That's
But
awesome.
she's got a diverse art style. She's actually done my children's books as well.
Oh,
The
cool.
Penny Pangolin series.
Yes, I thought those were adorable.
Yeah, so I mean, you can see a completely different art style, the children's book style. So you can see that very diverse style.
Yeah, and I think it's really gorgeous. I loved it.
Yeah, so she did the children's books and she did the covers for the Heroes of Time series and the back cover art, which we also have used on like T-shirts.
He's wearing actually the T-shirt in the studio, guys, and it's really cool looking. Like it's on the book. It's really graphic, not like scary, but like it's there. It's like edgy, and you look at the shirt, and it's also there, and it's kind of got that like really cool vibe to it. You're not sure what's going on, but you're looking at it going, I must know more about that image, that shirt, and who that person is. Like it definitely draws the eye in, which is a captivating part of artwork that it makes you go, I need questions, and I have answers, but I want more questions than answers. So
Yes.
Is that moth really significant to the story?
Yeah, so it's a white butterfly, and
Okay.
it's kind of how the powers of Fulgur start to unfold.
Okay.
And it is sort of a symbolic thing for him as he progresses
Yep.
in his young life. Where as a child, he heals this butterfly's wings. He just puts the wing right back on it.
he just reattaches and
It's
goes,
ki- it's
you
like,
are healed.
It's like an act of faith and an act of his power as
Yeah.
a healer. And he just kind of does it without even needing a second thought. Like he just knows it's going to happen, and he does it, and butterfly flies away.
Flies away. Oh my
And-
God, I love that.
And then without giving away things,
Sure.
Because you don't want to give too much of the story away, and people are like, oh, I already know what happens.
Yeah. Well, it becomes that butterfly makes appearances at various times in his life.
So it's a continuing mini character.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And it's
already.
almost like when he sees that, then he kind of knows that this is the direction that I should be going in.
Nice.
I'm doing the right thing. Something is significant here. That sort of thing.
Gotcha.
Captain, which way do we go? I
like-
don't know.
Like
Follow
the
the
Will-O
butterfly.
Wisp from Brave. that kind of guide you to the
Yeah.
right answers.
Does he
Yeah.
ever point out the butterfly to anyone else? Not to give too much away, but he's like, oh, look, butterfly, follow it.
Yeah,
I guess he's asking,
kind of.
can anyone else see the butterfly?
Yeah,
Or
but
is that
is it-
so
is it-
special to him?
Like he sees it only, or like, yeah, like everyone see the butterfly.
Well, it tends to appear at moments when he's the only one around.
Ah, okay. So it's a special, very special butterfly. Very special.
Yeah, but it's not like invisible to any, if somebody else happened to be there.
So no one else just thinks the captain's crazy when he goes, the butterfly.
Right. You're seeing ghosts again, Captain.
Captain, are you okay? Do you have the scurvy, Captain? Be like, no, there's a butterfly in my chambers. So we're in the middle of the ocean. There are no butterflies out here.
Right.
Guys, I think the captain's lost it. We need to get back to land.
Captain's loony again.
So I love it. I love the energy. With the whole book series basically coming to possibly a whole 11 book series, do you see yourself after the whole thing is completed doing like a new series after you're done with it? Or is it going to be like write the 11 books and then, okay, I wrote 11 books. I'm good. I'm just going to take all these. Are you going to... Or is there goals for down the road for a new series? Is there anything that you could let us know that could be in the possible Ward Works?
He said 5-book series.
Well, 5 plus the other 6, so that's 11.
So 5 for Legends.
Yeah.
Here's the Legends tie-in, and then
the 6 for the main.
roughly 6 for the main.
So
Yeah.
11 total.
Very well.
So do you see yourself doing another book series, or are you going to just love this to death until, you are long and gone in dust?
Right now, I'm loving these to death.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Very, very focused on the Heroes of Time series, not thinking about really anything else. Nothing else has come to me in
Not
terms
yet.
of
Sure.
fantasy. Maybe more stuff on the children's book side, but yeah, I'm very focused on Heroes of Time. That's definitely going to occupy me for years at this point.
70-year-old, and you're like, I have an idea for a prequel to the series of time.
Oh man, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to be mostly looking at ways to just continue to massage and build and work this world.
Okay.
That is Heroes of Time, because I think that there's a lot of potential there. You have the world building.
Mm-hmm.
You just have that depth in one time period, but also over multiple time periods. So there's a lot to work with.
I love it. Now, again, besides the TV and the movie and all that, I see this as a board game. Like, I can see from what I've gotten from the story so far, I may have just inspired you to make a board game, but I think this could be a fun RPG, like, mini game, like, traveling the world, collecting, like, pieces of a game puzzle, and then, like, first person to collect all the magic runes or something like that. Is there anything, like, did I just put that thought in your head now? Is there any goal to make a board game?
Oh, I would love to have games. Absolutely. No, I mean, we've thought of, like a D&D spin on this.
Okay. D&D book, basically.
Yeah, or campaigns, based on it. But in the book that I'm writing right now, the sequel to The Healer, I actually have integrated a board game in the story.
Oh, that's cool.
That I based it off of a couple of things in real life just to get some rules basis, and then modified a few things, even kind of like printed out a board for me to use as a reference.
Ooh, okay.
As I was writing it.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Early in that book, you'll actually see a game referenced that's an in-world game, tabletop game.
Like in Pirates, they're playing Pirates Keep. They're playing the slave dice and stuff like that. Like, how many years are you wagering? 15 years. Like, you actually made a game in your book. Yeah. On the Flying Dutchman, they don't have anything to wager, so they wager years of slavery to the Flying Dutchman. So it's like, I wager 15 years. Yes, I'm getting out 15 years early. Oh crap, I lost 450. I'm in trouble. It's a very
high stakes game.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous game. How long do you want to be enslaved to the Flying Dutchman? But that's cool. We definitely should talk about that more. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take one more commercial break. We'll be right back, and we'll be back to wind up with Wayne one more time. We'll be right back.
After these messages,
After these messages,
After these messages,
after these messages,
we'll be right back.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Goliath's Rants, Reviews, and Revivals right here on Forward Radio, WFMP Louisville at 106.5 FM and forwardradio.org. If you're just tuning in now, we are wrapping up an interview with Wayne Kramer for the Heroes of Time series.
And again,
been
Wayne, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We've got a lot of good questions and content. And back to your host, Goliath.
Thank you so much, Danielle. Wayne, thank you so much for being with us. And again, thank you for sharing the awesomeness of the synopsis of your book, the story, the ideas, your future, where you think this is going. And I really hope it becomes movie, TV, cartoon. Heck, I love it all. And the board game idea. Love that. I can't wait to find out more about that. Is there anything you can do and tell our fans in the long run? Because, honestly, first of all, how do we find you again? What's your website?
heroesoftime.com.
And that's pretty much for all your social medias. Like, if they go to Google and type in Heroes of Time, you're probably the only ones that have that, LLC.
Yeah. I mean, heroesoftime.com. If you type in Heroes of Time books, Heroes of Time novel, whatever, yeah, it should definitely come up.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
And now, again, like as another author myself, I'm not as big as you or as cool as you. I've been working on my book steadily, and I've been self-publishing, which I know takes a lot of time. It takes a bit of a beating on your own soul too. What words of inspiration can you give to our fans and followers? Like those 3 years you were writing Murdoch, somebody kept you going. The Red Panda. What made you look at this and go, hey, I can't give up. Hey, I'm going to complete this. I'm going to see this through. Because, there have many times I look at myself and go, I'm quitting. I don't want to write anymore. What can you say to that effect to our fans and followers?
Yeah, for me, I've always been motivated by getting to that finished product. I mean, I have published some books already, but I just remember even the feeling of publishing the first one. Feeling that book in your hands, seeing that story actually in print. Maybe it doesn't become an overnight success, but it's there and it can always happen. Mm-hmm. Focus on content first.
Yes.
Make it the best book it can be. I would say one of the mistakes that I made in the beginning was trying to expect Murdoch's Choice to become this sensation.
Smashing hit right off the bat.
Yeah. And then trying to do a bunch of marketing and stuff behind it. But it's really, really tough, nigh impossible to actually make a positive return marketing just one book.
Hit the ground. Your first thought was, okay, I can't have a book that's going to hit the ground running and it's going to just catapult into the others. You had to take that time and go, hey, I need to get this out. But I was hoping, like in your mind, you were like, I'm hoping this hits the ground running.
Yeah.
But your reality set in. You were like, okay, I know what needs to be done. I know that I can't just. Now, if it did, that some people do hit the ground running. They do, and then they kind of slam down. You hit the ground running a little bit. And you kept going because you've got 3 amazing books out for the Murdochs for the whole series so far, and you've got children's books. It kept you going and kept you motivated that this was not the end all, but it's going to help you get to the end all.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously, it's just something that I have wanted to do for so many years. Even going back to that Chrono Trigger novel project. Mm-hmm. Wanted to publish. I've got stories that need to get out, things that I want to tell, and I'm all about getting to that finished product, that finished series.
Yep.
And just the satisfaction from having that. And then once you have that finished series, if it's 3 or 5 books or whatever.
Hell, 1 book, anything.
Yeah. Well, but as a series, then like things like the marketing and the time promoting it, going to events, all these kinds of things start to make a lot more sense because you've got a lot more read through to work with.
And
Absolutely.
You've got more, and you've built your fan base a little bit. So someone might go to your table and be like, "Oh my God, Murdoch's Choice! The Revenge of Murdoch." Be like, "Have you heard of the series?" Be like,
"Well,
yeah."
This is the thing. We raved about Lexington Comic-Con earlier, which has become one of our favorite shows.
Oh,
honestly.
love that show so much.
And this year, I absolutely loved. This was only my 2nd year doing a table.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah.
At that show, but already I started to have people. There's one in particular that I'm thinking of. Come up to me and been like, I've read the books. I'm actually in Murdoch's shadow now. And then it wasn't a sales pitch. It was we were standing there talking lore back and forth.
Yeah.
Talking about
that's
the
fun
characters
That's the
and
fun
the story.
part of the whole
And she's
thing.
like, oh, what are you doing to me with this character? And I was like, so it was so cool to do that. to experience
I love
that.
it. I really
Absolutely.
do. So, ladies
Yes.
and gentlemen, thank you so much, Wayne. Thank you so much, Danielle. Thank you so much, as always, for being here. I got to say, guys and gals, you got to check out the whole book series. Go to their website. Check them out. I promise you, you will not be let down, and I can't wait to get more into it. Wayne, again, thank you so much. Danielle, as always, thank you.
Thank you.
Guys and gals, we'll catch you later.
See you later.
Bye.